continuing with my top 10 winners and losers for after Prelude 2. This is part 2, 5 to 1. So if you like math, this is essentially top 5 winners and losers. Some complex math there, but yeah, let's continue. Let's keep doing the losers first. And so my fifth loser is Jovians. I don't think Jovians got a lot of help. So first of all, there are still only 4 multipliers. Which, there used to be 4 when there were 200 cards in the deck. Now there's like 400, so it's basically like half the multipliers. And I don't know, there wasn't a lot of like Jovian theme here. Like we got Jovian Envoys, and then there's that Unity Prelude, and things like Summit Logistics, but like the Jovian cards are a tiny part of this expansion. So I think it's a niche strategy that got more niche, essentially. So yeah, not great. Okay, so but number 5 winner is Unity. I know, weird, right? Because that has Jovian, but the thing is, the other 2 parts of Unity got great. Venus, I've already talked about it, and Earth. Okay, so Earth got some of the best preludes and cards. Planetary Alliance probably the weakest one, but Unity gets the 3 tags, right? So this is giving you 3 cash if you put Unity in power, plus 2 cards that you might use, plus the 2 terraforming ratings. So this is obviously great for Unity. But then High Circles and Corridor of Power are 2 of the best preludes. And World Government Project and Sponsoring Nation to very good value. Like the Earth tags were really good again in this expansion. And the Venus tags, spoiler alert, I might talk more about the Venus, but Venus got lots of tags. Lots of good cards in Venus. And then I've talked about how I think putting the scientist in power helps Unity more, because Unity usually has money, and if you play science, you usually have card draw, right? So you can watch my turmoil breakdown video there, up there. But yeah, the scientist card helps Unity. It's just a Unity card. Like, that's what it does. It gives you money it's basically the Unity bonus plus colonies and 2 cards. So if a player is more heavy on card draw and another player is more heavy on like economic development in Unity, like, I mean, obviously you can do both and it's great. But if it happens to be different, which is a bit the point of turmoil, then again, Unity player wins. And they got their Unity card, which places a bunch of delegates, colonial envoys, and then Summit Logistics, which helps them. So yeah, good for Unity. But number 4th loser are poor corps. So poor usually are corps to me that begin with less than 40 cash. And the main reason for that is that we got almost no preludes that give you cash directly. I mean, we got established methods, but then it forces you to do 2 standard projects. And then a few here and there that give you like 4 or 5 cash, but they're not really cash preludes. Of course, like you can do other things, like you can place a colony, which is what you would want to do with your cash, but they're still more specific. And I feel like things like donation and even loan or supply drop, which is much better, that give you resources directly, really help the poor corporations. And that basically got very diluted now. And like they need that because they need the flexibility, right? Maybe you don't want a colony Gen 1 and you get the colony Prelude, right? But like that's what they need. They need the flexibility, and Prelude gave them that, and Prelude 2 diluted it. So number 4th losing, the poor corpse. Number 4th winner. Okay, it was very close for 4 and 3 for the winners, but I put Septem Tribus at the 4th winner. And I talked about in this previous video, the 3 turmoil preludes are really powerful, and they're really good for Septem, especially Rise to Power, right? You can place 3 delegates wherever, like in 3 separate parties. But the high circles, like you can place two in one party, and like it's fine. You still get a terraforming a thing with a requirement and +1 influence, right? And then corridors of powers, like you can do a lot of party leaders with Septem because you're placing in the parties that no one wants, and you're placing every turn like in the party that wins anyway. So you can do a lot of party leaders with even if it gets overtaken later, it doesn't matter. Like as long as you place the first one there once it wins power, and you're going to every turn, like the party that gets emptied, you're gonna place a delegate there, right? And that's a party leader. So Corridors of Power and Rise to Power are both amazing preludes for Septem Tribus or Tribus. High Circles is still pretty good, but you have to place them both in the same party, but that's fine. So number 4, Septem Tribus just got like two of the best combos in the game now, and I already thought that card was broken. Number 3, Loser, and that's the Scientists. And I already talked about this a little, but really, Summit Logistics should just give you cash for science tags. Or do something with science tags. Like, the Scientists, like, remember, their bonus is 1 per science tag. So you're supposed to want to put them in power if you've played a lot of science, which means maybe you need a little cash to play your cards. So Summit Logistics, I'd be very happy if he gave you 2 pack per science, just like a huge cash for a turn in order to play your cards. Or maybe something like Series Tech Market, but better, where you can discard a bunch of the cards you don't use for money so that you can play the cards that you do use. Which is, it's nice that they got Series Tech Market, but that's more of a late game card because... Anyway, I think they got screwed. Like they're the only party that, like, basically their card got given to another party that was already, like, always interested in having the Scientist in power because of the 3-card draw action, right? Which helps Unity more than the Scientist. Again, I have that video that I mentioned. Watch it. So number 3 loser are the Scientists. Number 3 winner, and it was close between Septem Tribus in this one for 3rd and 4th, but MSI. MSI I think is my last corp here. But they got a ton of shit. Like, remember, what does MSI need? They need to terraform Venus quickly so they can get like crazy value cards like Stratospheric Verse or Venusian Animals down in like the first third of the game, right? If they do that, they're very strong. And so you got Venus L1 Shade, which terraforms 3 steps. Then you need 1 more step. If you get that, you need 1 more step with MSI to like play Stratospheric Verts, right? Because they got the bonus. And then you got things like Venus Contract, which gives you a rebate and it draws you a Venus card. Atmospheric Enhancers, it's still 2 steps, right? You might not be leaning into a flourish strategy with, although you often are with MSI, but maybe you're not. And then I think Venus Shuttles is key here. Like if you're MSI, Venus Shuttles already costs 10 to terraform Venus. That's already pretty decent. But if you have a couple more tags, then you're at 8, it's insane, right? So Venus Shuttles is a great card for MSI, and it'll get you all your requirements really fast. But then you also got a lot of like Venus card draw, like Ishtar Expedition draws 2 and it's basically free. Stratospheric Expedition also draws 2. Venus Contract, like I said, draws 1. And Venus Orbital Survey, it's good for everyone, but it has a Venus tag, so it's better for you, and it draws Venus cards for free, so it's just better for you. So, number 3 winner, MSI. Alright, let's go to the second loser. And the second loser is another corp, and that's Mons Insurance. And it's basically just 2 cards, but I think they can be, like, they can devastate Mons early. So, the first one is Recession. And actually, when I was doing my review video, I mentioned this is a good card for Mons. People rightly pointed out in the comments that I was a moron for thinking this. And then I just realized it's actually a disaster card for Mons. Like, imagine a 5-player game. You play Mons, get everyone's production down, and then someone plays Recession. And so they get your production back down. You lose 5 cash, but then you have to play pay 3 other players 3 cash because recession hit all of them, right? I mean, 5 is not that common, but still, like, recession is pretty horrible. And then there's industrial complex, which with Mons, you lower their cash production, and they just like, and this is more of a, you know, it would be bad luck because they would have to guess that you're Mons, and industrial complex is a bit niche, but like you lower their production and they get it right back up. And I think yeah, so yeah, I think just those are 2 very bad cards for Mons. And there's also a little hate in the expansion. Like there's that plant card that loses you 4 plants. That is, I think, very good. So whenever there's hate, that's bad for Mons. But yeah, I just basically I think recession, which I initially stupidly said would be good for them, is actually a disaster for them. The more players there are, the worse, right? Um, but okay, back to the winners. And the number 2 winner is whoever the fuck plays this prelude. Project Eden. What the fuck again? I just keep like trying to figure out the math here. It's 3 cards are 9 cash, so it's a city, a greenery, and an ocean, and you're only playing like half an ocean because the ocean is 18. Okay, so okay, you're paying 9 for the ocean, but a city and a greenery are already like insane value. Like think of early settlement. That gets you a city and 1 plant production, which might turn into a greenery in 8 generations. This gives you the greenery right fucking away, and then it gives you an ocean so that you can just place them all together and get a bunch of cash and pick a bunch of resources. And it's just insane. And a plant tag and a city tag because a rare tag, which is not very useful except for like diversifier, but it's good to have. And then a plant tag, one of the most useful tags in the game. So yeah, whoever draws that is just play the prelude and laugh. But anyway, on to the number 1 loser, and that's animals. And I'm really sad to say that there isn't a single animal tag in the whole expansion, unless you count the tag inside the ecotech text, which doesn't even give you animal resource. So I don't know why I really wanted animal preludes, maybe more animal cards, and they decided to not do that at all. So really sad. Honestly, I have my Arclight Dreamhand video that I wrote 90% of the hand and I just held it in case, because surely I was gonna get a prelude that was gonna help me with animals. The closest thing is Applied Science, and I already said it sucks. So obviously not part of the dream hand. But yeah, I don't know. Like an ecotech doesn't even give you an animal. Why? Like it totally should. It's not. It's not. And but not one single animal prelude. That was the first thing I noticed. Like, huh, that was weird. Like I thought we'd get one. I know it's kind of hard to do because animals are supposed to be late, and but you could do something similar to the arclight effect on a prelude, right? So, which is the ecological zone, or even just like decomposers on a prelude. And it's a point prelude, but at least it's something. But then not a single animal tag in like the whole thing, except for one animal tag in ecotech that doesn't even give you an animal. Just I don't know. I don't think animals were that overpowered to ignore them this bad. So, yeah, it's really sad. Not a single animal tag. Nothing that helps animals. It's not that they needed help, but it's always nice. I love that combo. That combo is my favorite thing in Terraforming Mars. Like playing early ecological zone is probably the happiest I am. And we got nothing. So, really sad. And finally, the number 1 winner is the Venus next expansion. So if you seen my video the other day, I already talked about how I think they did probably succeed in make it more playable. And you know, it's small number of cards that got added, but they are good on power level. And they have good synergy with both of the Venus Corps, which are both in this winner list. I think MSI is probably the one that's why I have it at 3 and Celestic only at 7. But it might be easier to go for Venus when you have all the expansions in play, which is something that I saw never, right? So you got 5 Preludes, and you got some, like, they're not as overpowered as the thermal ones, but they're all pretty good. Like, Giant Slaughter Collector is probably my least favorite, or Planetary Alliance, but they're all pretty good, right? And Unity also got good, and Unity is better when you do more Venus because it has a Venus tag there at the end. So, yeah, I think definitely in general, Venus became more play. I'm not sure it's gonna be like super playable. Like, I think it's still gonna be kind of rare because you need to see the Preludes and the Corpse to play it in your opening hand, and otherwise you're probably not going for it. And there's so many cards now and so many corps that, yeah, maybe we need a third Venus Corp, or third and fourth Venus Corp would be nice. I'm sorry, we have a third Aphrodite, but it's shit. So we need a third usable Venus Corp and maybe a fourth, and I think that could make Venus entirely playable in the 5 expansion. But I do think it took a huge step forward. Big win for the design team. And yeah, that's it. That's it for my video. Let me know what you think, and see you next time.